What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Panthers Nation Network. Hey, Panthers get their first win on the road, but
came at a price.
At what cost? It came at a Bryce. Yeah?
That was terrible.
That hurt.
That was bad.
That hurt. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Look, this was, a thought process. Or this was a concern, like throughout Bryce's career for everything that anyone wanted to say about, forcing the ball downfield, not having confidence, not being able to, escape in certain situations or forcing turnovers. Like, the one thing he didn't do that a lot of people had issue with or that had concern about was get injured. Other than the quote-unquote injury his rookie year, he'd started every game that he was healthy for. Or, I'm sorry, that's not true. He was healthy for every game that he was starting for.
Yeah, right.
So this is, like, not a huge concern, but you always do have this modicum of, like, in the back of your head, like, okay, the first time they go down, what kind of path does this put them on?
Right. It's really just a wait and see. I guess seeing him move around today was good to see. I don't think we don't think he's playing this week.
No,
right?
Canals loves to keep things, right up under himself. So I don't foresee a way. Like if it was an NFC game or if it was a conference game, which they have two of in the next few weeks, I think they would probably push the envelope. But given it's a Bills game where, like, it does in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, every win counts, but in the grand scheme of if you are for whatever reason looking at playoffs, it doesn't really do you anything.
It doesn't. As much as I would love to see Bryce in this team in that scenario where this is a big game. Yeah. I know for a lot of fans they want to this game is going to mean something. Yeah. A lot of relationships between us and the Bills, of course. Yeah. Panthers North. Shaq Thompson will be back in the building.
Yeah, right. Curtis Samuel. I don't know if he's healthy, but he'll be in the building.
Right. So it's just a lot of guys, and I think again a chance to go up against a team that is considered the class of the AFC. They've taken a couple of losses, so they're kind of a team that's kind of reeling right now. They're trying to reestablish themselves. Yeah. So it was definitely a great opportunity. It's still, but here's the thing though, it still is a great opportunity. Like it's not. I'm not mailing it in. There's a path to victory that we'll talk about as we go on throughout the episode. But yeah, I do hate that we won't get to see Bryce in this situation because it's starting to feel like Bryce is continuously starting to stack good games on top of good games, taking care of the football, making big plays. So I did want to see him in that game. But, the main thing is that he is moving around and that it could possibly only be for 1 week. And that's the bright side of it.
That's right, because that's the hope. When you have, this, I believe they said it was a high ankle sprain, right? Mm-hmm. The minimum or the average is 2 to 4 weeks, right? So, when he went down and the way he went down, coming off under his own power and then it being, still limping a little bit, but then not even going immediately to the locker room, like that does allow for me to think, okay, well maybe there's a little bit of hope there.
Right.
And I think from what we've seen, to be honest, with what I'm hoping is a new, knock on wood, a new trope for the Panthers health staff, if these guys are going down, it's not for as long as you would be concerned that they're going to go down for. And that could just be the state of the injuries that they're getting into. But, Turk Wharton is already back into practice. Mm-hmm. And, there was concerns about how long he was going to be out for, right? Like, Chuba comes in and is, we'll get into the play of Chuba in a minute. But, these guys are coming back, right? So I think that I'm optimistic about his return. And I really do think that they are waiting until games that, to be quite honest, matter more. Like, from a record perspective. Like, from a morale perspective, yes. This Bills game, a Bills win at home, you'd love that. Yeah. Even a close loss, you saw what the close loss against the Chiefs did for you last year, right? Like, gave you the momentum and belief throughout to play throughout the rest of the season and keep you in close games.
And this time around, you actually have wins under your belt. So it isn't like oh man, let's just we can actually play. Like, no, you've won some games. You've beaten some decent teams along the way. Atlanta, kind of middling around. Dallas, I think highly of Dallas when they get their guys back.
Clearly you saw what CeeDee Lamb did. Like quickly turning into one of the best receiving corps.
Thank God.
I know.
Goodness gracious.
I know, because that would have been Probably a different outcome.
Oh, for sure.
Probably a different outcome.
But there's a little luck that goes into everything.
Of course.
Through all these things.
Of course. And I think that's what's also kind of aggravating. Like, this Jets game fell at a good time for the offensive weapons, right? Like, work Chuba back in, work Coker, work Jatavian back in. Of course, we saw it, no output from Coker or Jatavian, but we were okay with that because it's the Jets. But to have a healthier Coker, Sanders, and Chuba for the Bills with Bryce too would have been a much different situation.
Oh, absolutely. And that's going to be the biggest concern this week is that, from what it seems, Andy Dalton and Xavier seem to have a connection. And if you look at Xavier's play when he was having like his time last year where he was he was really getting it going, it was with Andy Dalton in the lineup.
It was.
Obviously had a career high 9 catches, 92 yards in that game against the Jets. So you start to see instantly that, hey, him and Andy Dalton have that connection. The biggest concern is going to be how do we get the rest of these guys going and involved. Like, I mean, clearly with Andy Dalton in the game, the D ball is more of a factor.
Yeah,
that's going to be more of a factor, and we do believe we have vertical threats in T-Mac and Leggett and even Coker as well. So I do want to see what a week of practice with these guys looks like and what that can look and what that translates to come game day.
I mean, think about who Andy Dalton's most prolific wide receiver is, right? And the comparisons that both XL and T-Mac received in the pre-draft process to a guy that was wearing the black and orange, right, and made a good deep impact far down the field.
Yep.
So I don't think there's any coincidence that XL is his favorite guy, right? Like when you have an AJ Green-like build, you're going to put out, you're going to go and you had that connection already. You're going to say, okay, well, I'm going to find the guy that I'm used to throwing to, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think with Horn you can provide that speed downfield, right? I think you open up, I don't think you open up the passing offense, to be honest. Let me retract that. I think you still lean on the run. We can talk about it now. It was Chuba's first game back.
I'm not tripping off of what that looked like. Like he still had his. I don't know. It does look like I would say it does look like the offensive line blocks different for Chuba, and I don't know if it's how what they're calling, but at least when I look at Rico run, these seem like more zone run schemes.
Yeah.
And Chuba's runs seem more like gap schemes. I don't know. They don't believe that Chuba can get out in space and move as well as Rico does. But I would like to see the same play calls for both guys.
I would too. I think it's as simple as this, and it's funny because Panthers fans can go from one day like being concerned about the validity of Chuba as a starting running back. I'm like so quickly. Look, Rico had 2 great games.
Yeah.
But the rushing defenses we talked about
these
not
were porous defenses.
They were porous defenses, and even against. And this is what I'm going to get to. But you have that thought process one day, and then the next, maybe a few days later, Quentin Williams on the trade block. Oh, my God, we got to get this defensive tackle. It's going to create the best interior in the NFL. Okay, well, you just answered your own question. Why did Chuba not do so hot against the Jets? Well, they've got actually an above-par rush defense.
Yeah, the running game as a whole didn't perform that great.
Rico didn't even get above 100 yards.
Right, and mind you, like you said, Chuba's working himself back in. Did we think Chuba was going to come out and have, 10 carries for 120?
No. And you didn't need him to. It was an ugly game. Would I have liked to put, B to A?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that would have been fun to see.
Of course. But it's not like it's not as if Chuba didn't make plays.
No, he had that same box score presence that you see from a T-Mac, right? Where like XL, we had his career high, but only 1 or 2 of them were actually really impactful plays.
Yeah.
From Andy.
Exactly. You talk about where it was I think one was obviously the deep ball to end the game.
That was great.
That was the biggest play.
That was probably the chunk of his.
Yeah. Because other than that, you didn't score on any of these drives.
No, you had the first score and that was it.
Exactly.
And that wasn't even. That was the 3rd drive, 4th drive, maybe.
Right. It was it's early in his first half. I think you had that touchdown in the first half, so you only got a field goal at the end, by the end of the game.
Which that did suck. I don't know what happened with Jatavion. I also don't know why both Coker and Jatavion. Again, we're right. This is the 3rd time this season where we've had 2 receivers in the same side of the end zone.
Not quite sure.
Because that's what happened on that Bryce throwaway touchdown, pass.
Yeah.
Against, I think it was either the Jags or, I think it was the Jags when there was XL and T-Mac, and we thought XL ran.
Oh, yeah. Clearly there's some miscommunication going on there. But
we talked about it. This is a Jets defense that has taken the Bucs to the end of the line, has taken the Broncos to the end of the line.
Right. They just held the Broncos at 13 a week before. So
And the Broncos that put up 40 in a quarter.
Right, like just the very next week. So here's the thing, that's a good Jets defense, and that's the one thing we knew coming in. I don't know why everybody forgot about that. Just because I think I think once the game starts, people forget about all of the analytical things, all of the what goes into all of this, what goes into the game. So I think people just see the record and just be like, same with us. Like people just see us and then be like, oh, it's the Panthers. We should beat.
Right.
You know. But I mean, it is what it is. Like we knew that was a good defense. They played well. We managed. We figured it out. I thought we won that game. I thought that was a 3-facet way to win a game, though. It was offense making the plays that they could make. Defense obviously playing big time. But special teams, though, for me, was probably one of the more unsung heroes. Sam Martin, the punter, and Trevor Etienne as well. Just being better at fielding punts, but also getting a few returns where it put you on the plus side of the field. Your offense couldn't finish, but you pretty much won the position.
Like that kick return, I mean.
Come on now, Etienne has some impactful moments. So much so that I do believe Etienne's earned more touches on the offensive end. Like, especially when Chuba was out, I thought that Etienne could have gotten more burn. I understand it's not going to happen now, but he's starting the game. I feel more confidence in him if we had to go to him.
Yeah, I mean, we thought about from just and this sounds like kind of more commodity based, but running backs you have to be right. So we thought when they were first all brought together, you have your Rico or you have Chuba is your number one running back. You know that for a fact. Rico seemed like the better option, and he clearly is now for a third down or yards to gain running back. Mm-hmm. Like he's going to power through. And we talk about Chuba not getting those calls, but I think a healthy Chuba does better with the gap reads because, like I said, he takes a lot more time. He's a lot more efficient about finding the hole. Mm-hmm. Where Rico, you just point, hit it and go. Run. The minute you get the ball, you take off, and there's either a hole for you or there's going to be some arms in it, run through the gauntlet, get going, and that's what he does. Mm-hmm. Whereas Etienne, I really do think, and I like to see the more that utilize them when they have. Don't get me wrong, I like Rico screens, and especially if it's a bubble, if it's a step back screen where he's already out there, I'd rather see that than a bubble per se. I mean, he likes the momentum, obviously, but Etienne on an end around or a bubble screen, that's where he's shifty, right? That's where he is crafty, and I think Etienne has that side to side speed at the second level. That is what can give him and should give him more play calls. Even with Chuba being in, if you're going to run wide receivers like an NBA team, there's no reason to not run running backs like it, especially if you want to siphon the gas out of a running back. Don't do it out of your now semi-injured, back that you've given this kind of a deal to. Yeah. Give it to your rookie who has years on Chuba.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I think we have a lot of options. I think that's also what played into the offensive unit did not looking as well because you are trying to figure out, hey, how do I call this now with Chuba and Rico now, and knowing that the one knock on Dave was always his establishing the run, and I think having to do it now with multiple backs is a bit different because when it's just Rico and we throw in Etienne every now and then, hey, we're basing the whole thing around Rico. We know how we're gonna run. We know how we're gonna run the rock, but like I said, having Chuba back is gonna mean more for the long haul. I know people are gonna look at the now and say, "Oh man, Chuba didn't look great." The deeper you get into the season, when you have to, like you said, you're not gonna always be able to run these zone schemes where you get everything out in space. It's not always gonna be able to work. When you just need to be able to grind out yards, you need to be able to run in between the tackles, and you have a Chuba that at that point, like later on into the season, is gonna be healthier, gonna be more back in game shape. The effect you'll be able to have on defense is going to be insane because if you win the trenches, you almost win most of your games. And a game coming up like this against Buffalo that's struggling against the run,
right?
You really do need to lean on those two guys if you want to have a chance.
Absolutely, and I think that's where the other thing I'm like, okay, have a sense of understanding of what era this team is in, right? In every as a fan, you want them to win now. You want your team to win the Super Bowl every year. Right, that's what you know that can't happen. Mm-hmm. It's not going to happen. Eagles look night and day different than what they did last year, right? And that's okay. That's going to happen in the NFL. It's incredibly hard to do. So for the Panthers, in my perspective, we talk about it when you talk about what Chuba means and what the long term plan for Chuba is. You just gave him this deal. Rico's working on a 1-year deal. If anybody. This is a 1-year deal. Right?
Yeah, so this is a 1-year deal. That's what I'm saying. You're gonna run Rico.
Yeah, so so run him through, see if he's worthy of an extension. or then let the market see what he can do. Like, that's the whole point. So to be honest, I'd rather see more of Rico week in and week out this season than I need to see from Chuba. If Chuba takes a down year, like, I think he'll be the first to say too, like, I'm not the healthiest guy. Like, he's running harder. Go get your bag. Like, I'm here for the long haul. I'm not going nowhere.
I already got paid, bro.
Like, and not to say that you need to take a lame duck year, but like, as a running back, don't overdo it.
No, facts. I mean, and again, they're gonna find. I believe they're gonna find a happy medium between how to use both of these guys, because like I said, in my opinion, and this is why I wanted all year was to be able to run the ball 30+ times a game. Run the ball 30+ times a game. Hey, limit these let's limit the passing attack from having to be limit us to have to be as reliant upon it, because that's a younger group of receivers. This is a more veteran group of backs. This offensive line is built to run the football. That's the strength of your group anyway. When you think about the size and the athleticism of those guys, like, man, Icky's a great run blocker. You run behind Icky, you're breaking off 10, 15-yard runs.
Right.
This is what we do. This is what we do best. And you're getting Damian Lewis back this week. I believe. I don't know, at least the way it looks right now, he may be on pace to play. But like I said, run behind the strength of this team right now. And the strength of this team is definitely going to be the ground game until further notice.
No, it absolutely is. And I think the other thing people aren't realizing too is that like, we all kind of question, okay, what was necessarily the purpose of bringing in Rico, then also drafting ETN. Well, we saw the size and particulars of Rico Dowdle in comparison to a Jonathan Brooks. Same measurables, same burst. They're running Rico like they want to run Jonathan Brooks.
And that's my whole thought process too. Is that, like, you're gonna see that's the layout, that's the blueprint as to what they wanted. They went out and got it. Make sure they kept him in the room. ETN will be used as well come next year too. Like, they're gonna have a use for all of these guys. And I mean, like I said, all of these teams are going running back by committee. Like, nobody's going with the one bell cow back. That doesn't work in today's NFL anyway.
No, not even for like a Ravens. Like, it doesn't work.
No, exactly. So you bring in different bodies. Like you said, we'll see. Like I said, we pretty much expect Jonathan Brooks to take on that type of role that Rico's in right now. And like you said, I think we'll have. Like I said, the future looks bright for that particular group. I guess the main thing is going to be trying to figure out how do we stop Josh Allen.
Look, it's been a problem, right? Even like, I mean, they had to lay the wood on Justin Fields to get him off the field and to stop him from being impactful. And like, look at credit to Nick Scott, to be honest. For a guy that we haven't seen that kind of fire from, I'd rather see you lay the wood, even if it was a play that you probably shouldn't have done. But also, he didn't dive too very quickly, or too very late after the slide. It was pretty.
It's bang bang play, bro. It was a bang bang.
But outside of that, I mean, even Tyrod Taylor coming in, like, like, they kept him out of the end zone, but that doesn't mean they kept him, like,
he moved the rock.
Like, so that's going to be, especially if, Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid are both healthy and both playing, because tight ends have been just the Panthers' kryptonite for years.
Yeah.
They finally had, a chance in, in what was it? In the Falcons game was really the only time they've shut down a tight end.
Right.
And it's Kyle Pitts. So, like, but, like, I'm talking, I mean, Schoonmaker, like, Brenton Strange.
Yeah.
Like, guys that, like, I mean, friggin' Dolphins.
Darren
Waller, like, guys that haven't had, anything going for them all season long. I think the Jets was finally the first time. I don't think that the tight end had too much to do.
Right.
But if that tandem of Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox, like, Josh Allen loves to throw to those two.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the problem, because I don't believe there's a threat. Well, there are threats of sorts, but in that receiver room, there isn't much of a threat. Like Keon Coleman, I think I have a matchup for Keon Coleman. I'm not. I guess really Khalil Shakur is the only one that brings me any problem, just because of the speed, and knowing that, all right, Mike Jack. That's where Mike Jack's had his struggles with some of those speedier guys. But yeah, it's gonna be trying to figure out what combos of pressure can you throw at Josh Allen? Can you actually get to him? And that's the biggest issue with not having a designated, like, pass rusher, like a guy that can just go get after the quarterback, because you're pretty much asking. You're gonna be asking Princely, because that's right now probably your best pure pass rusher right now in the room. to go after to be able to go get after Josh Allen. I mean, guys like Nick Score and all those guys, like they've gotten their sacks off of blitz pressures. They got like other guys getting pressure and cleaning things up. Trayvon Murray, how do you go about using him this week? And that's the thing too, like you said, with the tight end being such a big factor into their offense. Is there going to be a way to be able to use Trayvon Murray how you used them all year, which is on these blitzes getting after the quarterback? Because I assume Joe Brady's going to use that against you.
Right, and that's the other thing I'll be interested to see. Joe Brady going up against this defense, and to be like A'Shaun Robinson and Derrick Brown, we talked about it, have continued to develop week in and week out as a dominant front. Throw Turk Wharton back into the mix, right, and have hopefully they are able to play, right, and then Nick finally got his first sack. And it might have come more wonkily than you think it would, right? But it still happened.
Right.
And hopefully that can continue to come to pass as this defense continues to develop. This is one where you're going to, you have to get after him and you have to send multiple guys after him. You're not going to have one dude bring him down, right? And it's going to be to the point where, they can, dip and dunk when they need to, right? I think also the matter of making sure that you can shut down James Cook.
Yeah.
You've done really, really well shutting down running backs. Bree Hall was, not really a factor.
Nope.
So this is going to be a chance to say, Brees Hall, it didn't have an impact. Javonte Williams didn't have an impact. Continue to make that the case. Bijan Robinson did not have an impact. So, if you can make James Cook, if you can curtail him, that definitely helps you. Because I'm a bit more concerned, too, about the running attack.
Yeah. The running attack also, James Cook is also catch the ball out of the backfield as well.
Exactly.
So, if you get too aggressive with these blitzes, you know what I'm saying, they're going to just pop one up. They're going to pop a screen over the top of you, you know what I'm saying, break it off for a big gain. So, like you said, it's going to take really being disciplined, like you said. And that's I'll give this defense credit for that this past weekend. Obviously they ended up with 6 sacks. Their ability, they stay disciplined within the pass rush lanes. Now they missed a lot of sacks. Even though they ended up with 6, they still missed a lot. You could have easily had 10 based off of just the amount you missed. But and like I said, it doesn't get any easier with a quarterback like Josh Allen, who's one of the best running quarterbacks we have in the game.
Yeah, and that's where I think you almost have to put and I think the way they need to do it is put Mo Rig on a spy, right? I think you have to play him as a spy, continue to play this lineup that you've done, where you've had your 3, like a 3-3. I don't know how they do it.
Would it be 3-3-5?
Like a 5-3-3 that they've done. Where you have 3 on the line, 3 at linebacker, and 5. You're running your nickel set, but having it to where it's not a nickel cornerback. You keep J.C. Mike out there, run 2 safeties, and have Mo Rig run around. Mm-hmm. Because Roseboom and Wall, either that or you have Roseboom, right? But you're gonna need all the coverage you can get in the middle of the field from these tight ends.
Yeah.
And on the flats. Yeah. So you really have to I think sacrifice Mo Rig, have him cheat up and just follow Allen a lot of the times. Because outside of that, like you said, if you have Turk, Bobby, A'Shaun, and Derrick, that's good on the front line, but you're not going to run 4 on the front line. We've shown you.
Right.
Nick I liked him better in the linebacking role off of the edge when he's coming around too and standing up. That's what you're going to get from DJ Wan. We have to see something from you. And if you're out and it's Princely,
it's just the depth. It's a depth issue. It's not really about the play itself. I like our rookies, and they've had impacts in almost every game that they've been able to get premium snaps in. But it's just gonna be a depth issue at that point, because it's gonna be the guys you have to go to after them.
Yeah, right. And then that's my other concern about in terms of depth on the offensive line, because for the Jets, who was it? Who started at guard? It was Corbett at guard? It was Mays, Christensen?
Yeah, it was Corbett.
Mays, Corbett, Christensen, and then Icky and Moten. And it worked well. And then if Lewis comes in, from what I'm seeing, if Lewis comes back in, it will still be Mays, Christensen, Icky, and Moten. And then Damien on the other side.
Sorry. You lost me. All right, say that again.
From what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing at practice, if Lewis is healthy to play, it'll be Mays in the middle, Lewis and Christensen on either side, and then Moten and Icky on the outsides. No Corbett.
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm saying Corbett didn't do a bad job. But
fine.
That sounds a lot better because, Andy's not going to be able to get away from a pass rush.
And that's going to be the biggest part of not having Bryce, and this is going to be the part that I'm going to hate, is that a lot of what makes Bryce a viable player is that his ability outside the pocket, his agility, you know what I'm saying, being able to keep plays alive. I mean, you look at the fourth and 4 against Miami. How that play happened, the touchdown against the Jets, how that play happened was off of Bryce being able to get outside the pocket, create, extend. That isn't what Andy does. So again, it changes a lot of what we have to do, and that's why I worry about having such young receivers, because like if this were like clearly this were like an Adam Thielen, like I know Adam understands like, hey, like you understand your quarterback, you ain't going, you just, everything needs to happen quick. We don't have that. I don't say we don't have, but these guys are still kind of learning how to play with that type of quarterback. I thought XL did a good job of adjusting throughout the course of the game, but just hey look, knowing where to sit it down, just make the catch, get up the field, take those plays, because that's what a lot of his catches were. None of like he only, like I said, the only big play he had was the one at the end of the game that put him over the top. But other than that, it were a lot of dink and dunk plays. So it's really gonna be how they adjust. I mean, getting Jimmy Horn involved will also really help, man.
I really think so too. I mean, the reception and then the run, like, both were, positive yards, and it's funny because that's what we've been asking to see from him. And I think especially when you need to spread the field and you won't necessarily have the ability to do that in a like short yardage situation, like from inside perspective. I think, you give it to Jimmy Horn. I think, to be honest, you dress out XL and I think you dress out XL and T-Mac, obviously.
Yeah.
I think you dress out Coker.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think you're fourth. To be really honest, I think you dress out Hunter Renfrow. I think, to be honest, I could see or you really utilize Mitchell Evans more. Because already we saw Mitchell Evans have.
Oh well, there's a discussion to be had about the tight end room, but we can get to that. But why? What's your mindset behind wanting to dress Hunter Renfrow?
Because in a situation where I do think like with Bryce, I think what I've loved with Bryce when it comes to both Tremaine, XL, all these guys, like you said, not only the ability to like be out of the pocket and create it, but like all of their abilities to think on a dime and be able to run with what he's wanting from them. You've seen a couple touchdowns where like XL just continue to run, or like T-Max just continue to run away from what the route was supposed to be. You've seen Tremaine do it as well. And with the threats that the three of them in terms of Coker, T-Mac, and XL provide, as a matter of like just getting an extra, those deep down the field threats.
Yeah.
But you're going to get in more situations than not where you're not going to have the time to air it out downfield.
Right, so you need somebody to run underneath, yeah.
And while I like Jimmy and he's made great plays in the short yardage situation,
right,
I do in that moment think Hunter Renfrow
would be the better option for that. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I absolutely agree with you on that. I mean, I think the only thing you could do then is you would need to not dress Tremaine.
So that's it's going to come down to what, to one of the to Jimmy, Renfrow, and Tremaine. Tremaine and Jimmy got the dresses out this week, and then Hunter didn't.
Right.
And I understand that and that purpose why, because as the way that the offense has developed, Hunter has had the least impact. The more that Bryce has improved. Right. Yeah. The only game he's had that was good was, I think it was the Jags or the Cardinals.
The Cardinals game. Yeah.
That was his multi-touchdown game. And so with the development of everybody else, you don't need him. I think I think, to be honest, I say you take away a tight end spot. You don't. I'm starting to get to the point where and we can have this conversation now. I'm starting to get to the point where like Jatavion needs to be fully healthy.
Yeah.
Or else he's just not impactful.
And it's. I mean, I saw somebody. God, who I can't. I want to credit the account that said this, but he said that, truth be told, I give Tremaine those. I
remember seeing that same thing.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, when you think about it, I mean, as a receiver, I would think obviously Tremaine's an actual receiver, but like I don't think it would be out of this world to be able to ask Tremaine to, hey man, run out of these tight end sets. We already use you as you're a wide receiver that we use as a lead blocker.
Yeah.
So you clearly have, what I'm saying, that blocking ability. And so much so that they've carved out a role for you in this offense where they get you on the field without T-Mac or XL on the field as well. So it's like, I mean, at that point, I mean, you could you could sit Jasavion and then and keep all your receivers in the room just to have those multitude of bodies. Because I still like the fact of having that guy you can just hand the end around to. Because you don't have that.
I do. I do too. So that's why I'm like, yeah. If it's all those, that's why I don't want to not dress anyone. Because like I said, Mitchell Evans has, from whether it's just the packages that they're giving him, he's just getting lucky.
But he seems to get it though.
Right.
It seems like you said, whether he's getting lucky or what, they are finding him and he is making plays. And nobody's game planning for Mitchell Evans at this point.
No, and he's your lead, and that might change as the weeks go on. But right now, he's your leading tight end. Mm-hmm. And like the same thing, Bryce and Tremaine, you can do it like what was the cat from Green Bay who was running back turned tight end, or was the reverse?
Talking about Randall Cobb.
Was it Randall Cobb was tight end turn?
Oh, you always talk about Ty Montgomery.
Ty Montgomery, right? Yeah. Like, you don't have to play the position you were intended to play, right? Thanks. And to be honest, you might get better utilization if you switch up that position, right? And so it's not unheard of, to go from wide receiver to tight end, one or the other, right? Like, and for Tremaine, especially, then you also can provide like these kind of these decoy sets, where say you're going for a run block because they've covered for you to run block.
But he's a legit receiver,
and you slip right behind them.
And that's the thing too about Tremaine, is that he's made plays this year as a receiver. So it's not like if I'm not mad at Dalton went up for Bryce and Tremaine.
No, I'm not either. Like he's shown that, like Canales has been able to prove to me why he went after a guy that nobody else wanted on their roster at this point in time to have actual starting minutes. And I think like he could also, that's where I also think like maybe we shouldn't, because Andy also likes those big body vertical start receivers, and Bryce and Tremaine fits that mold. So that's where I'm like, the odd guy out right now is Jatavion Sanders. And I hate to say that, but when your health severely impacts your ability as a receiver and you're already lacking in a sense of a blocking ability.
The biggest issue for him has been like his hand. I know we talked about XL's hands.
Oh God.
But Jatavion's had more of an issue, and it's kind of more of a glaring issue. I get it with XL. Like he dropped some deep balls last year, and it wasn't great, and it hadn't struggled even coming into this year. But I've also seen XL make some big time plays. I've seen him answer the call.
It's the risk you run.
Yeah.
A tight end's a safety valve.
Yeah, you're supposed to be like, bro, you can't drop these. And Mitchell Evans is, to me, shown more of that safety valve type of presence. Now again, he doesn't touch the ball more than maybe once or twice a game, but these are typically pretty impactful plays.
I mean, he was what, 2 for 24 and a 13-yard. He had your third longest reception outside of Rico and Excel, right? Like he had a longer reception than and I mean, the receiving was what have you. It was different, but like he's had touchdowns in the Patriots game, the Dolphins game.
Mm-hmm. They had one in the Dallas game too.
Yeah, one in the Dallas game too. You're right. Yeah. So I mean, he's had He's had like more touchdowns.
Like in his limited touches, they have been very useful. And again, I think it's because of the things that he does well that you have to respect. That when Mitchell Evans is on the field, he's not. I mean, he can catch the ball, but he is a blocking threat.
He is.
Like that's what makes him great. So I mean, that's for most tight ends. Most of the elite tight ends, they can all block, and that's typically. You have to respect everything that offense can possibly do while they're on the field with Jatavion. I mean, we pretty much know if you're on the field, you're a pass catcher.
And if you don't catch those I mean, I remember you last year were ready to have him off the team. You were ready before that Chiefs game, I think.
Yeah, because to that point he hadn't shown me anything. And again, he's dropped to me. The drops by a tight end are a bit more hurtful than drops by a receiver because, like you said, you're the safety valve.
I mean, you would, and it's not like you'd see Greg Olsen make ridiculous catches,
bro. One-handers over like
palming the ball.
You know what I'm saying? Like taking it off of somebody's helmet. Like he's done all of these things, and bro, you can't. I don't know. You can't go in there being a tight end and not being a sure-handed guy. Because at least like even with a guy like Tommy Tremble, like. Typically, when we get the ball to Tommy Tremble, these are safety plays. Like, hey, look, man, we got to get this ball out to the flag. Yeah. Let Tommy rumble. You know what I'm saying?
And he's got the wheels to be able to get a little bit of burst out there and pick up some yards.
Exactly.
Too.
So he's like with Savion. I'm not writing the guy off, man, because again, like clearly we should all have learned our lesson about writing guys off too early. But I think it's just gonna be fine on the road. And I think until he has a game this year. That we can, that we can say is his marquee game. I think we're gonna be pretty much questioning that. And again, he's got to find some level of consistency, man.
And I think that, unfortunately, the time frame where Andy Dalton's on the field is not necessarily the time that you do that. And just from what I think they're going to do and from a play call perspective, I just don't think that's where he's going to find his time to shine.
No.
But speaking of guys that were written off way too early, my good man J.C. Carrington Horn was written off just too entirely early because he has just exploded.
It looked every bit worth of every bit worth the money that we paid him in the offseason. But he's playing the level of ball that we knew he could play though. Once he got healthy, once he stays consistent, I'm like, hey, look, we know he's one of the best in the game, and he just looked like it. I mean, the two. My
goodness.
Yeah, bro. Like.
And I don't want to hear, a better quarterback would have made a better throw.
Sounds good.
Look at, the physical step you have to take to get in front and one-hand that thing the way that he did.
Like, come on.
With the was it the inner hand or the outer hand? I couldn't remember. I think it was the.
Which one?
For the first one.
For the first one,
I think he had close hand.
Nah, I think he it was the outer hand.
Which is crazy because they'll tell you, and you'd think, that makes sense. You put the one that's closer to the receiver, but any defensive back coach will tell you if you go for it, you go with that inner hand.
Yeah.
Because that's going to break the plane quicker of that pass.
Exactly.
So the fact that he was able to get that back one there, means he was already still a step behind because he wasn't in a position where he needed to be.
Right.
And still make that play was ridiculous. The second one, I think, kind of just fell into his hands, if I'm not mistaken.
It was. He played it. He had the guy clammed up. Tyrod just threw it to him at that point.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the purpose was there, but the ratings, the passer ratings when JC is being targeted. This is the whole thing we were trying to scream for years with JC. Is the reason he doesn't have the production is because they're not throwing to him.
Not throwing, and because he doesn't play in the defense where he goes out, he gets to go find the work. If I'm relegated to this one side or whatever side the defense, the play call deems I need to be on, teams are just gonna go away from that. But if I'm lined up on George Pickens all day, you gotta come see me at some point. You know what I'm saying? If I'm lined up on whoever the top guys are. I mean, how many top? We haven't really played that many top guys so far this year.
George Pickens, Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
At the time. Brian Thomas Jr. did nothing. Again, younger guy, but did nothing.
Yeah.
Drake London, crickets.
Yeah, crickets from him.
Jarvis Landry gave you a bit of annoyance.
Who?
That was Jarvis Landry, but he wasn't even on Jarvis.
Jarvis Landry.
I mean, not Jarvis Landry. I'm thinking of just offensive receivers. Jalen Waddle.
Gave you
a bit of, but he wasn't even lined up on Jalen Waddle.
No.
George Pickens, and then nobody really in the Jets.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming he's going to be lined up on Keon Coleman, at least in the time frames where Keon's on that side of the field.
Right. I see, and Keon's not one of those guys where I'm necessarily like, you got to throw somebody on him. Like, nah, I kind of worry more about Khalil Shakur than I do Keon Coleman.
I am too. And to be honest, again, Khalil Shakur, I'm hoping, because again, someone had it on Twitter. There was a screen grab of the camera panning, and it's like a whoosh. And it said, I know when I see this Mike Jack is fighting for his life. And I'm like, don't do my guy like that.
Bro,
Come on.
But it's true, man. True. I mean, Mike Jack, but here's the thing about Mike Jack, though. He's not always beat. Sometimes even the play against the Jets this past weekend, bro, he caught the ball damn near for the receiver.
I don't even know how you do that.
He played it perfect, though. He jumped the hell out of it. I thought he went and made a great play. I mean, like I said, it's the professional football league, man. So,
Yeah, I still don't know how you do it. So that's what gives me a little bit of pause and a little bit of worry about a guy like Khalil Shakur, because it's these guys that can get behind you that have really been Mike Jack has struggled with.
And if Joe Brady knows anything, I know Joe Brady's going to try to get him lined up on these guys. He's going to make sure that we're going to test that out. And because there's the thing, that's the big thing for that offense is that if they're able to if they're able to hit those deep shots, it's going to be a long day.
That's because that's you can watch the tape on George Pickens, Jalen Waddle, they would get behind Mike Jack, and that was that was all she wrote.
Yeah.
And it's been these opportunities where Keon Coleman, I'm fine with Mike Jack on Keon Coleman. Mm-hmm. I'm not concerned about it.
That matchup it favors it works in the favor of Mike Jack. Not saying that it's favorable, but because Keon Coleman still he's showing that ability that he had at Florida State to be able to make contested catches and everything, but still he isn't that much of a vertical threat.
Exactly, and that's where I'm like, the height, the short yardage. Because Mike Jack is another one of those, like, I also like what Mike Jack can do, because you can catch the ball within 3-4 yards or 4 or 5 yards, but you're not going anywhere with it.
Exactly. He's been great at making tackles out in space. So it's staying on these guys and not allowing anything to happen after the catch. The only guy that really got loose like that was George Pickens.
Yeah, and again, we're seeing slowly but surely, even with CeeDee Lamb still on the field, George Pickens is quickly becoming one of the top receivers.
Again, he's going to be in the top 5 conversation by the end of the year. Right when we get to the end of the year, like I said, he's going to have 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns and whatnot. Like, you're going to have to talk about him, but
But we digress. So that's where I'm like, look at that's kind of what's going to again put more pressure on your linebackers. Like that's where we've seen it. And so with Nick, it's going to be a year, I think, that people are going to have to understand he's not going to have that output, like we said, defense from a sack perspective, that you're going to want.
Yeah.
While he is an edge, as long as they continue to perpetuate this 3-4, he's going to drop back into coverage more than you're going to want him to.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I think it.
And is that hurting DJ Wanham's level of production? The fact of the matter, he's not getting to rush as much as we would like him to.
Probably. But also, I'm watching these games, man. You're not getting there. You're not getting
Gordon's getting down there.
Yeah, hey, look, man, and I ain't mad. I don't know, man. I do wish that the guy that is supposed to be the leader of that particular group could get some production, but I don't see it happening this week either. That's the thing. Like, I don't see that happening this week. So I don't know. It's tough. If I had, I'm not gonna pick, obviously, because we've stopped picking games.
Yeah, we're not doing it.
But nah. If I'm asking, but there is a way. I'm not conceding and saying there's no shot. I'm just saying that if I was a betting man, and I am,
within the confines of the state of North Carolina.
Come on now, I take that Bills money line. I mean, if you want to risk it all.
I mean, what's the over/under set at?
Let's see.
And what's the line set at, mind you?
Let's see. We can look at that one right now. So, spread has Buffalo by 7.5. That's a lot. Total, the over/under is going to be 45.5.
Oh, I'm taking the under on that.
I'm taking under too.
I'm taking on, and that 7.5 is a lock, because I was thinking, I'm thinking like a 17-10 kind of game, to be honest.
Think so?
I think
it'll be under 45, but. All right, 17-10 seems a little like you. I don't know if we can hold Buffalo to 17. If we hold Buffalo, I think if you tell anybody we hold Buffalo to 17 points, I'm like, oh, we got a shot.
Look at if the Falcons defense.
The Falcons are weird, man. I actually really like their defense. They just have a way. I mean, you just kind of know they're gonna blow it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of like watching Dallas too. It's like even when Dallas teams are good, it's like. They're going to blow it in the end. You don't know how, but they're going to blow it. And Atlanta, they definitely always find a way.
Weird ways, right? I mean, you go, but they show that the Bills are, and we had been knowing, but proved that the Bills are not invincible.
Yeah.
And that and really no team in the NFL is this year. There's not one team that I can tell you is going to win every game and is going to dominate in that game.
Oh my God, bro! I got my podcast episode coming out after we get done with this. And I talked about that on my show. It was just that, like, bro, you look at the NFC, bro, the number one seed right now, and I know we're only 7 games in, but it's Green Bay with 4 wins.
That's crazy.
We also have 4 wins.
That's crazy.
Now, there's 6 other teams after Green Bay that have 5 wins.
That's crazy.
So, like, so it's log jammed, and as much as crazy as it sounds, like, dog, all these games are all of these games matter, because I'm like, bro, fam, you win one game, first of all, we're a game out of first,
which is ridiculous
in the division. So you win one game
for a team that's now down Mike Evans for the year.
Right. So it's like you're right there. Like 2 months into the year, fam, everything's still right there in front of you. 2 months after this, we'll see. But
it's not even like one of those situations where, like, oh yeah, you'll make it out of the NFC, but then you're gonna get, dog walked by whoever's coming out of the AFC, because the Ravens are in a spiral. The Chiefs aren't what they used to be, and the Bills aren't what they used to be.
I say this. I tell everybody this right now. Get ready to be upset again, because the Chiefs are going back.
I know they're going back, but that doesn't mean they're beatable. I mean,
they are beatable. For sure beatable.
Yeah.
But they're going back. And they're having fun again on offense, which is a problem.
Unfortunately, it's going to be ridiculous. But right now, unless the
I mean, your top teams right now in the AFC are the Colts, the Patriots, and the Broncos are your top three seeds right now.
What year is it?
2004.
What? Like what or like 2012.
Right.
For some odd I just it's, and so when I say your best hope in the AFC is the godforsaken Indianapolis Colts with the coaching candidate of the year, Shane Steichen, on a lock.
But I never believed Shane Steichen was a bad coach. This is the same Shane Steichen that had, and no, not the Jalen Hurts, but he had Jalen Hurts playing at an MVP caliber level when he was in Philadelphia.
So it's no surprise that he can have Daniel Jones looking like comeback player of the year.
Right. I mean, because mind you, it isn't like there isn't a precedent of Daniel Jones playing good NFL football. It just hasn't been consistent.
No.
So, you go to a team with a good O-line, a running game, solid group of receivers.
And and that being a real stretch because you had guys writing off Adonai Mitchell like he was a homeless man.
He did something that was kind of damn near
he did. But then even when he got to the play, not being used whatsoever. I mean, Michael Pittman up and down finally.
But I like Adonai Mitchell. I like Pittman. I like Josh Downs.
Yeah, right.
I'm tripping. Tyler Warren.
Oh my God.
Which to me no surprise. Big Ten tight ends. Yeah, this is what
we knew that was coming, right? Yeah. And then of course, who predict that Jonathan Taylor was going to have another up year? It seems like only even years that he can have, for real, or I guess odd years.
But I think having him playing as well as he is right now, it gives you a shot. It gives you a legitimate shot. Because obviously, if you can take two things you can take on the road, y'all: defense, run game. Take that anywhere.
And if you can prevent that, against the Bills, I think you then stand a chance. We talked about that game doesn't necessarily matter in the grand scheme of things, but like you said, a win propelling you into in the hunt.
What happens if you're 5-3? It's just fantasy world. What happens if this team is 5-3, and now you go from bro, we got a chance to fight for the number 1 seed.
Don't even Shantice.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm not saying these things are gonna happen, but I'm just saying you got a chance to fight for number 1 seed. Can you continuously figure out ways to win? I think that was my biggest takeaway from the Jets game was that they found a way to figured out a way how to get it. That's a game that, again, these are games that we typically would have lost a year ago.
Yeah. And you held on for literally as long as physically possible.
Hey, look, man, for one game, y'all. If I'm asking Andy Dalton, you got 1 week, and Dave Canales, you got to figure it out for 1 week.
Which typically, if history is to be repeated and believed, his first week as a starter is generally his best, and has been, if I'm not mistaken, in both instances, a win in his first week starting.
Not 23 because we lost to Seattle that game.
I thought we beat Seattle that game.
No, we got dusted up. We scored a lot.
We did score a lot.
And that's where people were like, oh, we should replace Bryce with Andy.
And then he won the next week?
No, he didn't play the next week. Bryce came back the next week.
Bryce came back. Okay, so yeah. But the offense was high scoring.
The offense was high scoring,
both times.
Yeah.
He wins that Raiders game in 24.
Yeah.
So
we need you for 1 week, brother. You get us a win against the Bills. Get us to win number 5. And you set us up right here. I think my only concern is going to be moving forward is how healthy is Bryce. Because obviously we talked about how his mobility is his key. If he is hampered in any kind of way, I do worry. But
which brings up a conversation you don't want to have, but it's one that Washington wishes they had,
mm-hmm.
and it's one that the Ravens wish they would have had. Like finding a good backup quarterback is a dime a dozen. And the Panthers have, oddly enough, had incredibly good backup quarterbacks
mm-hmm.
for whatever reason. But you might enter the conversation of next year's draft.
You do have to go get one.
Picking up a real caliber backup quarterback. I
think what's kept Carolina from doing it to this point was that we were trying to build up Bryce, mold up Bryce, and just get him just make him a franchise quarterback. The best way to do that is have a veteran behind him. help bring him along. Derek Anderson to Cam Newton, like, hey,
Right.
help bring him along, help make him better. If,
Right, how Russell Wilson to Jackson Dart.
That's nasty. Uh, but if Bryce if we believe Bryce is getting to that stage now where, hey, like, I mean, we already took away your wide receiver one, and you figured out a way how to how to play without. If you're getting to that next stage where we need to actually think about the backup quarterback option, because we need a guy that can come in and duplicate what you do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In some shape, form, or fashion, that we don't have to change the offense so much. Because right now, the offense is going to look night and day different compared to what it's been the past few weeks.
It will, because you don't get this situation very often where, like, a Joe Flacco can come in, veteran guy, but he's a gunslinger just like Burrow is, and can at least stand up straight and throw the ball downfield.
Exactly.
You don't get that often. And then when you have a situation like you look at the Ravens, I mean, they're dead in the water right now.
Yeah, because we go from Lamar to Cooper Rush.
You're not.
It's the offense isn't nearly the same, and you realize how stagnant that group is without having that one centerpiece. Like, and with Bryce, at least with Canales, this is weird. So, like, there is a history of knowing what he can do with Canales' offense, but knowing that it only really happens for like a little bit.
It loses steam very quickly.
Yeah. So you only got one game with this.
So say worst case scenario, he's out for 4 weeks.
Hof.
I know. That's worst case. I mean, worst case is longer, but in what reasonably will happen. And we can wrap it up with this. If it goes more, and if Andy comes out, doesn't look ideal, at what point do you even give a guy like a Hendon Hooker a chance?
It's got to look bad. It's got to be like Chicago Bears. Remember the Chicago game last year? Chicago, Washington Commanders. If it looks like those two games,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
you got to give them a shot. But if it ain't looking like that, if it's looking like Bengals, and we lost, but like you were competitive in that one, you got to let it ride. But it's got to look bad.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we know it can. We had a game like that already this year. We know it can get that bad.
Brutal.
Yeah. So, and that's also on the table for this week as well. Don't forget.
Yes, it is, unfortunately. Like I said, I'm not picking him to win.
Mm-mm.
I'm picking him. I'm picking the fan base to show out well, but also for the Bills fan base to show out well.
I said it would be 55-45.
I agree with you on that assessment, because it's going to be – there's a lot – I already know of Northerners that live here already, and there's family members coming to town, or just Bills fans proper are just coming to town anyhow, and they're going to be all up inside the stadium. So that's going to be not ideal for this, but I think, to be honest, the team has showed out in front of the home crowd, and that energy has really impacted how they've played. Now, that's also been facilitated by Bryce's ability to push the ball downfield. And that's the other thing. This is the last thing before we go, because you saw it happen, with the Jets, and it stalled drives. Even when he came in, I think it was that fourth down drive, and that when Andy first came in here, you have to be successful on your first couple plays in the drive. Like, Canales has a smaller margin of error now.
Yeah.
With Dalton as your quarterback. Like, you need to call the plays that are going to get the ball downfield.
Yeah. And that's the thing, too. I mean, I think this game, people will really appreciate Bryce after this one. I think for those who, because there is a sector of fans that still don't quite appreciate what Bryce does, you'll appreciate it this week.
You're going to see it. And God Almighty, if I'm telling you right now, even if Andy Dalton comes out and wins this game,
shut up.
We're not.
Like, shut your ass up.
We're not starting him. I don't care.
Hey, bro.
I don't care.
I wish the hell y'all would say some shit like that.
They will. Shantice, I'm telling you right now, they're going to. They were saying it week 1. They were saying it week 2.
Shut your dumb ass up, man. You don't ever say no stupid. Like, man, I swear for God, I'm talking to every single one of y'all that's about to say that shit too. I know y'all about to say it, and I'm gotta get these bars off here at the end, because maybe y'all won't be listening, so we ain't gotta bleep it out. But yeah, shut your dumb ass up, man.
It does not matter. Let him come in and have his game that he needs to have, and then let him ride off into the ginger sunset.
Yeah.
He's not going to start. Just leave it at that.
Like, are y'all dead ass buying tickets to watch a 38-year-old play for the remainder of the season? Like, y'all just asking the question. Like, if Danny Dalton had to start for the rest of the season, how many games are you geeked up to go cover?
This is a loaded question because it tracks a certain people watching for a certain reason. So I ain't gonna say nothing. But you know what I mean? Because if it was EJ Manuel out there, they're not coming to watch EJ Manuel.
Oh no, I'm not coming to watch bad quarterback play. See, I'm not. I don't pay money for mid, and no facet of my life. You know what I'm saying?
Neither do I. But there's a certain sector of people that would pay depending upon who that quarterback is that is on the field. And,
that's crazy.
It's the same. I mean, it's the same ones that would pay for Colt McCoy or Josh McCown or Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Bro, I tell you, I'm going to sleep, bro. I tell you, I'm gonna catch me some good Z's that day, bro.
Look at I do believe in the ability of Andy Dalton if this offense and I also believe in this line more than Andy's ever played behind a line before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Facilitate him to be able to perform well.
Mm-hmm.
It really this is going to show, and it really sucks that Robert Hunt won't be able to play. But if Lewis can come in, this is the Lions game to really go all out.
Yeah.
Because they got kind of whooped a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they got their first punch in the mouth, I'd say.
Yeah.
And the Bills, rushing attack isn't as favorable, so you have the ability to lay the wood down yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going to be the key to your game. The trenches.
The trenches, man. It always boils
When
down
is
to
it
the
not?
trenches. Yeah, it's always the trenches, dog. So.
But until next time, keep pounding.